Hello and welcome to my channel. It's Shanna, so glad you're here. Now I've been watching all these little butterfly rainbow sets, and I've got this little butterfly here. I tried it with another one earlier and it didn't work as well. So what I'm thinking is I want to do 4 different colors of rainbows, and so I just scored my paper into 4 different quadrants so that I could blend in these areas and just work with what I have. So what I'm thinking I want to do is just kind of make a rainbow color pattern of butterflies, and I want them to be two-tone. And so I'm going to start with my pink, and I basically know that this is the size it's going to be. I want to just kind of stay in this pattern. So I'm just going to bring in my spun sugar, and this is going to be kind of my lighter color, and I'm just going to get it laid down on here. And I want it to be able to show up. I want it to be big enough that my die will cut through it. And that is just a real light pink. I don't know if you can see that very well. And then I'm going to take and kind of eyeball it. And I'm going to put some darker pink through the center and blend out. And I really need the tiny little blending brushes, but I don't have any. So I'm using what I've got, and I'm just going to try and just kind of blend them out. I'm not sure if what I've got is even dark enough, but I'm going to try. I'm going to go ahead and bring back in my spun sugar and see if I can darken it up a little bit. And then go back with my picked raspberry and try to get a little bit of darker in the center. I'm not sure how this is going to work, but what I'm thinking of doing is to just get it to where I've got pink on the outer edge, a lighter pink, and then the darker on the inner edge. And I don't know, it's a pretty light color that I'm working with, so I'm just going to kind of do that and then bring my darker color back into the center. So we'll see. I'm not sure how that's going to work. It looks pretty light. Let's just move on to our next color. And I've got this dried marigold and then this crackling campfire, and there's a pretty stark contrast between those. So I'm going to try a little bit harder to get a little bit of darker. There we go. That's what I want, like that. I don't know if my pink just wasn't blended up enough or not. Let me just go back to the pink one and see if I can get a little bit broader. I think maybe the spun sugar is just too light. I think I need to be a little bit heavier handed to make it work what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and do my picked raspberry again. Just kind of go in the center and blend out. Okay, I think that's going to work better. All right, we'll just lay that aside, and then I'm going to bring in my crackling campfire. And again, I'm just going to try and just do the edge, because this is a pretty dark color. And just kind of blend in there. And then blend outward just to get a better blend. I think that's going to work for me. Just need to get this wiped off. We'll put our crackling campfire up, and then we'll move on to our green. I'm just going to get my brushes out of the way. And I'm going to use the same brush for my green that I used for both. So I'll just try and, I've been using this paper towel for a minute. Just try and clean that up a little bit so I can get the dark off. I'm going to bring in my shabby shutters. Try and get a good amount of ink on there. Yeah, that looks good. And then just kind of blend in my square. Okay, I'm liking that. Put my lid back on that. And then I'm going to bring in my pine needle. And again, I'm just going to do a little bit, kind of blot off, and see if I can get a little darker tone in the center there. And just kind of blend out. Okay, I'm liking that. I know this kind of looks crazy at the moment, but just bear with me and we'll see what we come out with. And then I'm going to try for a blue. And I've got this speckled egg that we're going to use. Bring in my little brush for that. Get a good ink amount on there. And then just color that in real well. And that's a good juicy pad, so that really inked up very well. And then I'm going to bring in a darker brush for this broken china, and hopefully this will work. There's not as much of a stark contrast with that as I think I need. We'll just keep layering. Okay, so I've got my 4 quadrants and I've got them all inked up, and I know it looks kind of crazy right now, but I think once we die cut out, I think we'll have some pretty good variation of color in our butterflies. So my plan is to just lay my butterfly down like this on each of these, and I may be able to get 2 out of each of them and create some colorful butterflies for our card panel. So let me go to my die cutting machine and get this all cut out, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so all of my ink blending and die cutting is done. Now I did show you these colors, but then I decided I needed purple, so I went ahead and I did some ink blending with purple. I used Wilted Violet and Villainous Potion and created that so that I had kind of the rainbow effect. Now I've got actually 2 sets here so that I can do 2 different cards if I like. And what I think I'm going to do is, because I've got the rainbow pattern, I'm going to bring in this optical arches, and I'm just going to bring in my ink blending brushes, and I think I'm just going to just lightly hit them all so that I can get my colors in there. I've got my pink on there. I'm going to bring in my dried marigold. Going to get it on there. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in my shabby shutters. Need to clean off my brush a little bit. Pick up my lighter color. Just get it in there. So yeah, that's working real well. Okay, now I'm ready for my speckled egg. Just bring that in. And we'll just go over this real lightly. Oh, I'm liking that. This is turning out much better than I anticipated. And then I'm ready for my Wilted Violet. And we'll just kind of pick that up lightly because it is a pretty dark color. And we'll just try and lightly go over that. And get it colored in. Okay, so now I have my rainbow embossed panel. And I like that. I like how it's turned out. So now I'm ready to bring in my card base. So I need to grab one of those real quick. And my desk is a mess, so I'm going to get this panel laid down on my card base. And I think I'm going to just, it's got a pretty good amount of dimension on it, so I'm just going to use my tape runner and just lay it down flat, maybe, if I have any tape runner left. Got a little bit. And we'll just get this one laid down flat, because this embossing panel, it's got a pretty good amount of dimension on it. And then my thought was that I would just get my little butterflies laying on here, and I've still got some little pieces to flick out. That one looks good. And then use my blue and then my purple and get that laid down. I think that looks good. So I'm going to do that. I'll just bring in my glue and get these laid down. Now, I haven't got their little bodies made, so I'm going to have to do that. But right now we're just going to get them laid down on our card base where we want them. And I'm just doing that very center area just so I can get them positioned. Hopefully I'm doing it all right. Now this one, I'm going to pick it up. I see a couple of punches that I need to punch out there. I don't know if you can see that. This is a really intricate die. It's got these little tiny pieces that you have to punch out. Get that laid down. And then get that laid down. Okay. Now that is one way to do it. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring the other ones in before we do the bodies, because I haven't got them die cut out, so I'm going to have to do that. But I'm going to bring in a white panel, embossed the same way, and we'll just see the different looks where we've added some ink blending on our embossed and where we are leaving it plain, to where you can have a simpler card. Get that laid down. And we're just going to kind of do the same thing. Now with this one, I think I'm going to scatter them a little bit more. Just punching out some of the little intricate pieces. Getting them out of the way. We actually, it's Sunday evening, and we actually went out to dinner with some friends tonight, which we don't normally do that on a Sunday evening, so that was a lot of fun. We went to a little small, quaint little restaurant that was really fun out on the reservoir, and enjoyed a little meal with our friends, and it was quite enjoyable. And then we came home and played some cards. And now I'm just taking a minute to do a little crafting. And I thought it would be fun. I had seen all of these videos where they've done like rainbow butterflies, and I thought, I have some butterflies, I could do it and kind of make my own little take on it. So that's what I'm doing. So I've got two different cards here with the butterflies laid on there, and now I just need to get the butterfly bodies, and it looks like I need about 10 of them. So I'm going to get to work on that, and then we'll get them attached and get our sentiments on. Okay, so I got all my little butterfly bodies cut out. This is the die, and for a minute I thought I had lost this thing. It was hiding underneath one of the other dies in the set, and I was like, oh no, I've lost it, but I was able to find it, and I went in a couple different directions. So for this one, I was just kind of going tone on tone, and I just cut the little butterfly body out of the colors that I had ink blended the butterflies, and I thought I would just, since we're laying it on the rainbow patterned embossing, I thought I would just stick with the same color for each little butterfly body. So I'm just getting it laid down on there, trying not to get crazy with my glue. I want to get it stuck down, but don't want to make a mess with it. Move that one just a little bit so you can see the antenna. And then my blue one. Get that arranged how I want it. Probably need my tweezers. And then pick up my purple one. And I tried to do the body out of the darkest area that I had left on the ink blended panels. I used the same panels that I had used to cut these butterflies out. I had enough. Obviously it didn't take too much with these little bodies to cut them out, so I tried to just use the ink blended panel that I had, so it didn't require any extra effort. And then their wings can just be kind of fluffed up. This one has a little piece of die cut still there. Okay, so there's that one. And then this one I decided, since it's on a plain white panel, we'd add a little bling to it. So I had a little bit of glitter cardstock, and this was just some Hobby Lobby, I think, glitter cardstock, nothing too fancy. And it was just a tiny little strip, but as tiny as this die is, I thought I could use it and use it up. It was just a real thin, it was probably a 1/4 of an inch strip. And I just die cut all 5 of these out of that little strip and just use that waste. I mean, what would normally be waste, you know, because you can't do much with that kind of a strip, but that's what I did with this. Okay, so let's get these cards finished off so that I can get back into the other part of the house where it's cooler. This sunroom is warmer than the other areas of the house, and so it is steamy here in Indiana right now. It's not really as much hot as it is the humidity. It is just ridiculous. So when we went out to eat at this restaurant that I was talking about, they have a nice little patio where you can eat outside, and we, for a split second, thought we were going to eat out there just so we could enjoy the scenery, but it was so humid, and the bees are particularly bad this time of year, so we actually had to decide to eat inside. So I had this foiled sentiment, and it was on white cardstock, and I just took my blending brush that I used for my purple, and I blended it, and now I'm just going to make a little banner, and I thought I would lay it, oh, it's going to go this way, don't want to put it upside down, and this will just be a thinking of you, and I think I'll just lay it down here. I might move it up a little bit. I'm trying to decide where I want it. Nope. Yeah, I think I'm going to go right there in between. So we'll just get this laid down, and this will be a thinking of you card. Always need these when I got people from church and stuff that I want to send cards to, so this will be nice. And so it's just a little rainbow butterfly card. I think it turned out all right. I'm going to put the one on this one, and then I do have some, and I just layered this up. I had like this gold one that matches the little bodies of the butterfly, and I think I had a pink and a yellow. And I thought, well, they're not going to show. I already had them die cut out, so I just layered them up. So I've got this 3 high, so that's a little bit thick, just to add a little bit of dimension to the card. And I thought I would lay this down as a thank you card, and just get it laid down there at the bottom and push it down. Now, I've got some embellishments that I'm going to add to this, so I need to get my little jewel tool back out. On the break, I cleaned up my desk a little bit because it was such a mess I could not even function, and I don't function well with a messy space. I have to be able to see stuff and everything, so I got that cleaned up. All right, so for this one, I think I'm just going to bring in some of these gold, and I think I'm going to go like 1, 2. See if I can get one that's picked up right. Get it laid down there. I have so many of these. I got these at the Hobby Lobby on a clearance, and so I have a bunch of them, and I just need to just keep using them, use them up, get rid of them. So I'm just going to throw them on here. My husband's in there watching TV. I opened the door back up because I was getting warm in here. And so this will finish off our card. The gold doesn't exactly match, but I think it adds a little bit of sparkle to it. So I think it looks cute. Now for this one, I've got, and I think this was probably like a Hobby Lobby Easter set. And so I thought I would bring some of these in and lay them down as well. So let's see if we can get what we can do with these. And he's talking, my husband's talking to the dogs. We are dog sitting right now for my daughter's dogs. And my husband is talking to them in the other room. So, and I think I'm going to bring in, I actually have this color, which I think, and these are spellbinders here. I'm going to bring some of these in and see if we can kind of match some of them up. Bring a couple of those in. And then I've got some Spellbinders blue here. Sorry, I had to pause. My husband was yelling across the house, inquiring about our granddaughter. So, and now he's blowing his nose in the background, so I apologize. And I don't know. I'm just laying some different colored ones down here just to kind of see. I've got 4 on there right now. And then I think I'll just put a purple one down here. It's kind of hard to get these to stick on this embossed panel because it's not very flat. I think I'm going to put a yellow one over here. Just kind of a yellow-green going on there. The crickets are chirping outside the door. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. I think we'll leave it at that. So these are my 2 cards that I made from my ink blended panels, and then I ink blended the embossing panel. And I think they turned out all right. I hope you like them. If you do, consider giving me a thumbs up. Thank you. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.